Hey guys, Callender here, back with Project CTC to go over some tips and tricks on the new application. If you aren't updated to the new application, make sure that you go to msimind.net/install and get the new application set up, the Project CTC app. So make sure you are actually on the CTC app. But I've got a couple of settings that you can adjust on the application. So if you come all the way to the left and go into your settings menu, there are a couple of settings that you can adjust that are pretty helpful. So if you go into general, you can turn on confirm back when you exit. So it's a way to get back into different spaces of the application without actually getting kicked all the way out. So that's one option to turn on in the general. Again, the next option is going to be in your playlist settings. We do have server 2 now. So if you do want to get moved over to server 2, one thing to check in your CTC playlist, you'll want to go to extreme preferences and check your expiration date. That way you know when you can be able to switch, because we're only going to switch you within a couple of days of your expiration date. But we can move you over to server 2 if you want to try that. Really just helps out if you're having any trouble with your location and you're not using a VPN. You can try server 2. The content's essentially the same, but you guys can, depending on your location, you might have a better connection to the server. But the things that you want to adjust inside a playlist now that we're coming up with football season is you want to make sure that your update interval is less than 10 hours. So you can either select 4, 2, 8, depending on how much you're using the app and watching. The more you're using, the sooner and more often you want it to update. Especially if you are watching football, you are going to want it to update every 2 hours. But depending on how often you're watching, if you're just watching daily, you can do 4 or 8. But if you're watching sports, you're definitely going to want to drop it down to 2. So you'll want to make sure that you change that interval and then update your playlist, and then it'll continue to update on its own by that interval. So that you want to make sure that you do set that. Server 2 has the same settings in it. You can check those as well and update that interval. But it's going to be pretty much the same operation that you guys are looking at in both sides of it. But playlist is one thing that you want to set up. The other thing that you want to go into is playback. Go into your buffer size and you want to set this to very large. That's going to help with some of your buffering issues. It allows us to use more memory on the device that you have. If you're still experiencing a lot of buffering after doing this, make sure you clear the cache. Make sure that you are clearing out any other apps that you're not using off of your device, any older install files inside of Downloader. If you've used Downloader to install a couple of times, check the files section in Downloader and delete those past files. So that way you can clear up space on your device. Buffering is going to come down to internet speed and memory on the device. So you're going to make sure that you have available memory, and that's going to be keeping your cache cleared and making sure any extra apps that are on here that you're not using, make sure you get those off of your device. Because that's what's really going to help with your buffering, are those two things. But by changing that size, it allows the application to use more of the memory. The other thing that you can go into is going into remote control. There are a couple of different things that you can adjust inside of the player settings. So you can change a couple of the different button presses based on your preferences. There's a couple of different options that you can choose from depending on what button that you're pressing and how you're utilizing your remote. So those are all preference. I'm not going to go into each one of them because each preference is going to be different for every single person. But I just wanted to show you guys that there is this option based on your remote control where you can change a couple of the different button presses to figure out what you're doing with your remote. Like long back is a good change to go into watching TV, because then if you're on the guide and you select something, then you can go back with the long back button and just holding that and go back to a big screen once you're watching something. But those are the settings that I wanted to cover with you guys to make sure you are getting those updates in the new application. Make sure you are updated to the new CTC app. Again, that's Project CTC. Go to msimind.net/install to go over the new install process, get the downloader code, and download the new application. Make sure if your application is not darkened like this, then you are not on the new app. So make sure that you are on the latest application. So that's what I wanted to come and cover for you guys today. With those settings that we have in the application, make sure you get updated, and then just let us know if you want to get moved over to server 2. Make sure you email support@msimind.net to be able to get the update to server 2. And make sure you're joining the Telegram group as well. That's where we send a lot of these updates. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave any comments. Thanks for watching.